Natalie Hoefer. I'm a member of St. Monica Parish in Indianapolis, and I'm also a reporter for the Criterion, the weekly paper for the Archdiocese. So I'm here today to talk about Black Catholic journalist Daniel Rudd. He was born in 1854 in Bardstown, Kentucky, and it's kind of interesting because our archdiocese actually comes from the Diocese of Bardstown. So there's a little bit of a claim we could possibly have to Daniel Rudd. By that time, though, we were a separate archdiocese. He was born a slave, and actually he was born to Catholic parents. Their plantation was just adjacent to the proto-cathedral of St. Joseph, which at the time was the cathedral for the Diocese of Bardstown. That later moved to Louisville, but that's very instrumental into his Catholic upbringing. It's believed that he was actually taught by a Jesuit priest who taught him how to read and speak in German. So bear in mind that education for a slave was pretty rare, and add on top of that that he was learning German as well. Kind of points to the intelligence that he had. After the Emancipation Proclamation, probably about 10 years later, he moved to Ohio. So he started a newspaper, and later it came to be called the American Catholic Tribune. So we're talking about a Black Catholic man starting a newspaper in just 20 years after the Civil War. Very entrepreneurial. But he wasn't just in it for the business. He wholeheartedly believed that the Catholic Church, if there was going to be any racial equity, it would come from the Catholic Church because of our belief in our oneness in Christ. He's been known to have said that it's only in the Catholic Church that everyone comes into the church the same as a sinner, lays down their sins at the foot of the altar, that all receive the Eucharist and all receive the sacrament of reconciliation, and that it's the ideal opportunity to spread equality in the world. So he pursued that through his newspaper. The newspaper wrote about both white and Black Catholics, different topics of the time, but Daniel Rudd in particular used his editorials to promote equality and social justice, not just within the church, but also for Blacks in general. He was not just a journalist and a newspaper man and an editorialist. He was an activist. He promoted racial equity between Black and white Catholics, encouraging white business owners to hire Black Catholics and Black Catholic business owners to hire white Catholics. He also engaged in promoting racial equity in terms of fair housing. He spoke out against any form of segregation. His newspaper, just because of competition, not even necessarily because of funding, went out of business in the 1890s, 1897, I believe. Even though it was supported financially by white Catholics, there was even one white French Catholic who was so impressed with Daniel Rudd and his paper that he contributed 1,000 francs every year until the newspaper folded. That brings us into the 20th century. Segregation, unfortunately, is continuing through Jim Crow laws. So Daniel Rudd starts petitioning bishops to work on behalf of Black Catholics and to encourage Black vocations as well. He became disappointed, not only that the church wasn't moving as quickly in promoting equality, but the world wasn't either. Nevertheless, he remained very strong in his ties to the Catholic Church. He went on to become a business owner, an entrepreneur, a teacher. He was very intelligent, multi-talented.